Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming into another video. So, I want to talk about Wilt Chamberlain because obviously I wasn't around to watch Wilt Chamberlain, clearly not. But I think there's a misconception about Wilt Chamberlain as it pertains to how he would fare in this era. He would dominate just the same in this era. He would be the MVP every single season. And the reason why I believe that is because you got to understand, he was a world-class sprinter with his body. He ran faster than most of the small guys with his body. There's nothing like that in the NBA right now. Not at all. The closest thing to it is probably Giannis, but you got to understand he was bigger and longer for his era. Now, I can't say he's bigger and longer than Giannis in real life. I don't know, but I think he was bigger than Giannis, to be honest with you, but I couldn't be certain of that. But what I'm telling you is this: for his era, the people around him weren't even in the same class as him athletically. And then you have to take into account that size. So when you look at his numbers, I think the misconception is that he was built like some of the more traditional centers, or even some of the centers that we see today. Some of the guys that are a little, they're big. They're not stiff, but they can move some. They can run well. No, this dude was like sprinting, like he was like a gazelle with a giant's body. So blocking shots came to him easy. Rebounding was ridiculous, especially for his time. Do you see what I'm saying? For his time, the guys were smaller. Guys weren't in that type of shape. Guys couldn't even. Like, he was a man amongst boys out there at all times. 100 points, 50 rebounds. You look at his numbers to see the craziness of his numbers. It wasn't just because of that, because of his size and his ability to be so much bigger than everybody else. It was because of his athleticism. It was because of how fast he was. It was because of how intelligent he was. I mean, he dominated. There were times, it was said, where he would be under the basket and would put the ball on the ground instead of dunking it, and they would credit him with 2 points because it was that ridiculous. Like, he would just constantly dunk on everybody all the time, constantly block shots all the time, constantly rebound all the time. But his smarts made it so that he could will himself into different things, sort of like a Larry Bird. Like, he pointed at a certain shot, as they said, Larry would point and say, I'm going to hit that exact spot and make this shot from here, and I'm going to, that kind of thing. He had that type of genius. He say, wake up one morning and say, you know what, I just want to get like 20 assists today. And we'll go out there and do it. Like, literally do that. You know what I mean? Now, he couldn't shoot threes, but there was no three-point shot back then. There was no three-point shot, so you can't really judge him and say, oh, he wouldn't fare in this era because of the three-point shot. A guy with that type of intelligence, that type of world-class athleticism, I'm pretty sure he would have learned the three-point shot if he was raised with it. I'm pretty dang sure. I'd bet the farm on that. He would, if he was raised in this era, he would have shot threes. His free throw shooting wasn't great. I ain't gonna sit up here and pretend like I know too much about him in regards to that. But I just think it's most definitely important to share the understanding that you don't see nothing like that in the NBA right now. The closest thing to that is Giannis, honestly, in my opinion, because Giannis runs like a gazelle. But Giannis, I don't think has the girth and the size on him. Think of like a Joel Embiid with Giannis athleticism, Giannis sprinting ability. Like, that's what he was for his time. It's like, how do you deal with that? For his time, when guys weren't as strong, when guys weren't as big, when nutrition wasn't all that, when gym equipment and all these different science as it pertains to getting the body in shape isn't nowhere near where it is now. How in the world could they keep up with a world-class athlete like that with this type of height and size? It's impossible. Was he like 7'3"? Like, it's impossible. But the most important thing that I wanted to just share was just how ridiculously fast and he was, and his sprint was like, he was a sprinter. He was a guy who ran track at that size. So that's what needs to be understood about Wilt Chamberlain. I'm hearing a lot of people online in different forums, and they talk about Wilt Chamberlain. I know they're comparing Jokic's numbers to him and things of that nature, which is a testament to how great Jokic actually is, whom I believe is the most underappreciated superstar in sports right now. But nevertheless, it's like, look, let's understand something about Wilt Chamberlain. He wasn't normal. He would still be dominating today. He would lead the league in rebounds. He'd probably lead the league in points. He'd probably lead the league in blocks. And I don't even think they recorded blocks at that time, but I'm pretty sure he led the league in blocks with ease. I think the only thing that hurt him was the fact that he wasn't able to win more championships. I think he won one championship, which is egregious, and I don't know what that's accredited to. I have no idea. Likely the dominance of the Boston Celtics. and the fact that they always had the deepest team ever, always. But at the end of the day, his speed, his running, his ability and his arm length and those type of things just made it so that he could just dominate all humans at all times. And there's nothing like it in the NBA, and there's never been anything like it in the NBA. And I would encourage people to go online and try to check out some of his highlights so that you'll understand what it is you're dealing with. And keep in mind, it wasn't no skill level. It wasn't no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar type of stuff to derive from. It wasn't no Michael Jordans running around. It wasn't no LeBron Jameses running around. None of that even existed yet. So you got guys that were barely, you know what I mean, to the level that we understand it. Their dribbling wasn't as advanced and all these different things. He was killing them dudes. He was destroying them. And I'm willing to bet even in this era, he would still be killing dudes. He would still be destroying them. So I just wanted to give a quick update. Not update, but a quick, just a little statement on Wilt Chamberlain. As I said, I've seen highlights of him. Obviously, I didn't watch his game, but I'm not confused about what type of player he was. I'm not confused about what type of athleticism he provided, what type of length he provided, and just how intelligent he was on the basketball floor and how he willed himself to be the greatest player arguably ever. And I think the only thing that keeps you from understanding that he's the greatest player ever is the championships. You know what I mean? It's championships. If he would have had opportunity to win more, there would be no question about who the GOAT of the league is, because his numbers are unparalleled. You don't look up all the great numbers, the rebounding numbers. Hey, no one's ever rebounded like that. In fact, no one's even come close. Never. 100 points. Who scored 100 points? Only person ever came close to that is Kobe with the 81. And you start thinking about like Devin Booker and players like that. I think David Robinson had 70. Elgin Baylor, I'm sure, had like 72. But no one come close to 100. 100 points? It's unprecedented. And the reason why is because he was that far advanced than the field, just way beyond. We think about people like who are dominating now, like LeBron James. And people like that, Giannis again, who could just flat out dominate. They don't dominate their field like Wilt dominated his field. No, not at all. It's a different level of demoralization that opponents had to face. It's just, there was nothing like him. The only thing that I wish is that there was more footage of him, you know what I mean? So that we could really study what it is that he was doing and see how much of a unicorn he actually was, because there's never been anything like that. And, there may not be anything ever like that again. So I just wanted to say that, man. Rest in peace to Wilt Chamberlain, Laker great, NBA great, one of the GOATs. BDF 44. Peace.